And we're back. Now it's time for the #1 reason why you shouldn't go to Elec Man stage first, and that reason is Elec Man! Yes, it's true, even if you manage to survive this onslaught of electrical beams and go in at full health, Elec Man can kick your butt in 3 to 4 hits. It's incredible. It's like Mega Man is weak to Elec Man's weapon the way other bosses are weak to different weapons. You'll notice me firing to the right here. That's because when I reach the top of the ladder, I'll actually be facing Elec Man. Normally you're facing the other way, and that coward, he'll shoot you in the back. So look at me get hit here, kablam, and ouch! That's a huge amount of damage. If you're fighting him with any other weapon in the game, you're hardly going to make a scratch at all. Usually about 1 damage. Even if you toss Gutsman's weapon, which you wouldn't have if you came here first, that's not anything to write home about. You really are in for a tough boss fight. Well, anyhow, Elec Man is out of the way, and I have a very powerful weapon now, but let's turn to the next enemy in the lineup, Iceman. And this makes sense because ice is really just frozen water, and electricity and water are a bad combination. Sure, we'll go with that. So these green enemies are really neat because even though you won't see it here, if you hit them in the torso instead, their heads will pop off and start flying around and they'll start trying to pound your skull in. I think this is great. Mega Man is one of the few games of the time period, at least that I've played, that actually has enemies that are affected differently depending on where you shoot them. I think this is pretty cool. It certainly adds a different element of challenge to the stage enemies. Iceman's a bad stage to come to first as well. You've got those enemies that zip back and forth on the ground that I just shot up that are helpful to dispatch with a special weapon, otherwise, as I mentioned before, they freeze in place. And then, of course, on the next screen, you've got disappearing bricks. Now, these are tricky here because if you miss, you fall down and get hit by the guy zooming on the bottom, whose names I can't really pronounce because they're Japanese. Then you've got jumps like that that are just a little bit too far apart, so you're guaranteed to spend a lot of time here practicing, unless you've got something like the magnet beam from Elec Man stage that will allow you to get through. See that little neat glitch coming down through the ceiling there? I like that one. That's another minor glitch that I like. So, here we have more disappearing bricks and another chance to fall into a pit with the zoomy guys, and I like to bypass it with the magnet beam. Yeah, I could go through and jump around, but really I'm that close, why waste the time? Here's the single greatest reason I hate Iceman stage, these diabolical floating platforms. Now, they look inconspicuous enough, but if you get hit while you are standing on them, you will most likely glitch straight through them, even if the knockback wasn't far enough to push you off the platform. If you get hit, you'll just get glitched through the platform and fall to your doom. Not cool. This has killed me so many times, which is another reason why I don't like to come here first until I have the magnet beam and can do that and just bypass them if they're being jerks and not flying close enough to each other that I can jump onto them. Okay, so I don't entirely hate Iceman stage. It's an ice stage. I love ice stages. I don't know, there's just something about the different physics that make the level trickier. I like the blue and white colors. I don't know, there's just something about... I like ice in general. Winter's one of my 2 favorite seasons, so naturally I'd like ice stages. I'm weird like that, don't ask. And running backwards through doors because you're able to slide is another thing that I love about ice stages. And then, of course, we've got these penguins. Does Dr. Wily have an automatic penguin factory that just keeps pumping them out, or did he handcraft every single one of the 70,000 that I've blown to pieces? Mysteries that may never be solved. Now, I have Elec Man's weapon, but I'm going to be difficult and fight Iceman with my normal blaster, which is something that, yes, you can do. It takes a lot of practice, but these ice slashers do a lot of damage, sort of like Elec Man's weapon. So, another reason to not come here first, but he's at least got a very easy to decipher pattern. It's just getting the timing down that's a little bit tricky. So I'll prove to you, yes, you can fight Iceman and not take any damage whatsoever. Although Elec Man's weapon will take him out much sooner. But Iceman gets the last laugh, just like Cutman, because again, the controls lock up at the last moment after a boss dies, and you can't move out of the way. Okay, so it's technically not a perfect kill, but doggone it, it's close enough. Regardless, that's another boss battle under my belt, and it's on to Fireman. As we've established, Iceman is really just frozen water man, so water douses fire. Fireman's the logical place to go next. I'm going to be using the Thunder Beam, Elec Man's weapon, because it's awesome. can do stuff like that. Elec Man's weapon has 3 things going for it that make it a superior weapon. Number 1, it's super powerful, tears right through enemies. Number 2, it's multi-directional, you can do neat stuff like that. And number 3, it uses a very small amount of energy, so it is a triple threat weapon, and hands down the most powerful weapon in the game. You can also exploit a glitch with it where you pause the game, unpause it, repause it, unpause it, and it does multiple damage to a lot of bosses, actually. But I won't be using that glitch in this game. Ha 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 ha. So we've got Iceman's weapon here, which is also neat. One of my favorite weapons. Elec Man is powerful, but it's not my favorite weapon. Iceman's up there, and Fireman's weapon is my favorite weapons. And then, of course, you've got the Magnet Beam, which is incredibly handy, helps you through places like that. But even without all of these excellent tools, you can still do Fireman stage first. What am I doing down there? It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I digress. Fireman stage is a pretty good place to come first because you, even without these special weapons, if you just watch, are a little bit patient, learn the timing, you can get through here just fine. It's just a matter of how much damage you take throughout here and whether or not you can make a couple of those jumps as the fireballs are coming down. Of course, you can't get around these dudes, these fireballs here so easily, but that's just a small price you'll have to pay for coming here first. One of the neat things about the original Mega Man is that each stage is truly unique. It's got a different style. Fireman stage here is full of environmental hazards, those flame towers, the fireballs, the lava pits. Oh yeah. And then you've got places like Iceman stage. That's just a bunch of jumping puzzles with the disappearing bricks and those diabolical floating platforms. You've also got Cutman stage, which is mostly enemy fighting and dodging. Then you've got Gutsman stage, that's all about quick reflexes, and with the platforms, the line-guided platforms, and also quickly moving out of the way of those pickaxes. And then you've got Bombman stage, which I haven't quite reached yet, that's all about just all-around platforming. It's which is why it's a good place to start. It's not too terribly heavy on any one element. So, we'll use Iceman's weapon against Fireman, but another reason why this is a pretty good place to start is if you really wanted to be lazy, you could just stand in the corner and shoot him with your regular weapon. You don't need to dodge a shot, and you can still defeat him. Fireman, despite the amount of damage that he can do if you're not careful, or even if you are careful, you can take him out just standing there. At last I have fire. And fire will light the fuse that makes a bomb explode, so Fireman's weapon is good to use against Bombman. One thing I wanted to quickly mention before we get too far into the stage is that back in Fireman stage, I forgot to say that I love using Elec Man's weapon against those flame pillars, those 2 flame pillars, at the end of the stage right before the boss doors, because when the Elec beam goes, or the thunder beam goes through them, it makes this really neat sound of the flames getting hit multiple times. I think it's pretty cool. If you didn't hear it, I'd recommend you go back and listen to it. It's neat. Oh, stop looking at me like that. You already know I'm crazy. I'm using the Elec beam again to take out these enemies quickly, because they can do a lot of damage because you need to jump around. Well, a little bit of damage, but they're pesky. Just get rid of them. If you've got the weapon, why suffer? I always get hit here. I don't know why. It's just this thing I do. It's habit. And I feel stupid, but I get a power-up, so it's okay. As one person I know put it, collecting power-ups that refill your health makes you look unstupid. And here's another part that was just almost there, trying to freeze the Sniper Joe enemy with my Ice Slasher. Normally works, but one of the reasons I like to have Iceman's weapon coming into here is because you can freeze those guys. You don't need to sit around forever waiting for them to drop their shields so you can hit them. See, I think that patience is a virtue that a lot of platformer gamers don't have. And so it's neat to occasionally throw in something that, like the disappearing blocks or the Sniper Joes, requires a little bit of patience to get through, but if you have to wait there a really long time shooting at them and waiting for them to drop their shield, it can really break the flow of the game. Like these UFO enemies here. They're invincible until they open their helmets, or whatever those are, to shoot at you. Now, I think they're a cool enemy because not many enemies in these games shoot in all directions, but they're tricky because they continually respawn. They just keep on coming at you, and depending on how quickly you're moving through the level, they're going to be in a slightly different position every time, which means that you really need to be careful and watch for exactly when they're going to open up and shoot at you, so it's easier to get hit that way. Now, if you take a look in the background, you'll see those ball things on big sticks. And I've always wondered what they are. Are they buildings? Are we in a city? Are they missile silos? Are they robo lollipops? What are they? Another mystery that may not be solved.